Have you ever wondered why some people manage to get rich quickly while others struggle to pay the bills at the end of the month? Imagine if there was a treasure map that could guide you to wealth, a clear and accessible path for everyone. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, believes that the key to fortune isn't in earning more, but in thinking differently. What if I told you that mindset could be your greatest asset? In the world of finance, many get lost in details and complicated strategies, but Kiyosaki reveals simple truths that can turn the game in your favor. Have you ever wondered why some people have an incredible talent for making money, while others seem to be always chasing after it? The answer might be simpler than you think. At this moment, you might be one step away from changing your financial life. The question is, are you ready to challenge your beliefs and discover a new path? Wealth could be closer than you think, and it all starts here. Let's explore this path together. When I talk about a wealth mindset, I feel it's like looking at the world through a different lens. For a long time, most of us grew up hearing that money is dirty or that we should be humble and not worry about finances. But the truth is that developing a wealth-oriented mindset is crucial. This doesn't mean we should become obsessed with money, but rather understand that wealth is a tool that can provide freedom and options in life. It's more about the mindset than the bank balance. A wealth mindset starts with the belief that financial success is possible. It's about challenging the limiting beliefs that many of us carry from childhood. For example, if you believe you will never be rich because your family always struggled financially, that belief can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Changing that internal narrative is the first step. When you start to see money as an opportunity to create something greater, it becomes easier to make decisions that lead you in that direction. A crucial aspect of this mindset is the willingness to learn. Rich people are constantly seeking new information, whether through books, courses, or conversations with those who have more experience. This relentless pursuit of knowledge creates a cycle of growth and development. Learning about how money works, how it can be invested and multiplied is an essential part of cultivating a wealth mindset. Thus, instead of just earning money, you learn to make it work for you. Additionally, you need to be open to possibilities. A wealth mindset involves the ability to see opportunities where others see obstacles. This means being willing to take calculated risks and not being afraid to fail. Every mistake is a learning opportunity, and this perspective is what differentiates those who thrive financially from those who remain stagnant. Investing in yourself and your skills is a powerful way to expand these opportunities. Finally, a wealth mindset isn't just about accumulating material possessions. It's about creating a legacy, positively impacting others' lives, and having the ability to choose how you want to live. When you adopt this mindset, money becomes a tool to achieve your goals and help others rather than an end in itself. This creates a healthier relationship with your finances and consequently with life. Financial education is one of the most important pillars for anyone who wants to build wealth. It's no use earning a good salary if you don't know how to manage that money. It's crucial to understand basic financial concepts like budgeting, saving, investing, and the difference between assets and liabilities. When you educate yourself financially, you start to view money in a completely new way, as a resource that should be managed wisely. Starting to learn about investments is a crucial step. Many of us were taught to work hard and save, but the truth is that simply saving isn't enough to build wealth. You need to learn how to invest your money to multiply it. This means understanding how stocks, real estate funds, cryptocurrencies, and other forms of investment work. The more you know, the more confident you become in your financial decisions, and better prepared you'll be to handle market ups and downs. Another vital part of financial education is understanding assets and liabilities. Many people confuse these concepts and end up accumulating liabilities instead of assets. An asset is something that generates money for you, while a liability consumes your money. For example, a house can be seen as an asset if you rent it out, but it can be a liability if you are only paying the mortgage without generating income from it. Learning to identify and prioritize assets is essential for building a solid financial foundation. Additionally, financial education is not a process that ends after school or college. It is something that should continue throughout life. The world of finance is always changing, with new opportunities and challenges emerging all the time. Staying updated and continuing to learn is what can truly make a difference on your path to wealth. Reading books, watching videos, attending seminars, and even talking with people who understand finance are ways to enrich your knowledge. Finally, understanding that financial education is a right for everyone is crucial. It is not something reserved only for those with access to privileged resources. Nowadays, there is a wealth of materials available for free online, from blogs to online courses. Taking advantage of these opportunities is an important step towards your financial freedom. Financial education is the first step to transforming your relationship with money and consequently, your life. The distinction between assets and liabilities is one of the most important lessons you can learn on your financial journey. Simply put, assets are everything that puts money in your pocket, while liabilities are everything that takes money out of it. This difference, though it may seem basic, can have a huge impact on your financial health in the long run. Once you begin to understand this difference, it becomes easier to make decisions that truly contribute to your financial growth. Many people, for example, believe that their homes are assets. However, if you are paying a mortgage and not generating income from that property, it may be considered a liability. On the other hand, a rental property that generates monthly income is an asset. This shift in perspective is crucial. By identifying and prioritizing assets, you start to build wealth that can work for you, rather than just consuming your resources. Another point to consider is that assets are not limited to physical goods. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and even investments in businesses can be considered assets as long as they are generating income. The key is always to seek ways to increase your list of assets. The more assets you have, the more cash flow you generate, and this opens doors to new opportunities and investments. On the other hand, liabilities can accumulate quickly, especially if you are not vigilant. Credit card expenses, loans, and even certain types of fixed expenses can turn into liabilities that affect your ability to save and invest. It is vital to review your finances regularly and identify where you can cut liabilities, freeing up resources to invest in assets. Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities is a game changer in your financial journey. With this clarity, you can start making more informed choices about how to spend your money. Instead of focusing solely on earning more, you should also focus on acquiring more assets. This mindset can transform your approach to money and ultimately lead to a healthier and more prosperous financial life. When it comes to building wealth, the strategy of investing in real estate is one of the most effective and enduring ones available. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, advocates that investing in real estate is a powerful way to generate cash flow. What I like about this approach is that a well-chosen property not only appreciates over time, but can also bring significant passive income. This creates a solid foundation for any financial plan. One of the main benefits of investing in real estate is that it tends to appreciate over time. This means that while you are paying off the mortgage and managing the property, your investment is growing. Additionally, if you rent out the property, you can use that income to cover expenses and even generate profit. This combination of appreciation and passive income is an effective way to build wealth in the long run. The key is to choose the right property and the ideal location. Another point to consider is the possibility of leverage. With real estate, you can use financing to acquire properties that you otherwise could not afford to buy outright. This means you can control a higher value asset while increasing your potential earnings. However, it is important to remember that this also brings risks. A poorly calculated investment can lead to significant losses. Therefore, research and education are essential before making a purchase. Real estate also offers protection against inflation. While the prices of goods and services may rise over time, the income generated by a property tends to keep pace with these changes. This means that as the cost of living increases, the income you generate may also rise, providing valuable protection for your assets. This feature makes real estate an attractive option for those looking to build wealth sustainably. Investing in real estate is not just about buying and selling. It is a long-term commitment that requires dedication and proper management. Maintaining the property, dealing with tenants, and ensuring everything is in order are parts of the process. However, the potential benefits make this effort very rewarding. By building a real estate portfolio, you are not just acquiring assets. You are creating a source of income that can provide financial security and freedom in the future. Entrepreneurship is one of the most exciting and potentially rewarding paths to increase your earning potential. Creating and managing your own business is not just a way to generate income, but also an opportunity to express your creativity and make a difference in the world. When you become an entrepreneur, you take control of your financial destiny and have. When it comes to risks, it is natural for most people to feel apprehensive. However, the truth is that living without risk is almost impossible, especially when it comes to money and investments. What Robert Kiyosaki teaches us is that the secret is not to avoid risks, but to learn and manage them. Taking a calculated risk can be the key to opening doors that would otherwise remain closed. Looking at my own journey, I realized that the most decisive moments were those when I had the courage to take risks, but always with a good analysis of what was at stake. Think of an investment you want to make. Before deciding, it is essential to evaluate all aspects. What are the potential gains and the losses? What am I willing to lose? When we understand that risk is an intrinsic part of the process, we start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. I remember once deciding to invest in a business that seemed promising, but was considered risky by many. With careful analysis and a solid plan, I was able not only to recover my investment, but also to multiply it. There is a method I always follow. I make a list of pros and cons. This practice helps me better visualize the implications of each decision. Additionally, I talk to people who have had similar experiences. Sharing information and experiences is crucial to turning a risk into a calculated risk. If you surround yourself with people who also think similarly, you will see that the fear of the unknown diminishes. What seems scary becomes an adventure to be explored. It is important to remember that risk is not limited to money. Sometimes taking a risk can mean stepping out of your comfort zone, changing careers, or starting a project that has been on the back burner. Every step outside the norm can bring rewards. However, it is crucial to keep in mind that this should be done with analysis and preparation. Each of us has a comfort threshold, and by expanding it, we make room for new opportunities and growth. Ultimately, the true essence of calculated risk is understanding that life is made up of choices, and every choice comes with a consequence. The question is, are you willing to take risks that could lead you to a better financial level? Fear can be a good advisor, but it should not be your only guide. The balance between courage and caution is what makes the difference when making decisions. If there is one thing I have learned over the years, it is that often who you know can be just as important as what you know. Networking or building relationships is a powerful tool in the quest for financial opportunities. I remember an event where I met someone who apparently had nothing to do with my field of work. But during a conversation, I discovered that they were involved in a project that needed a partner. There, a collaboration was born that turned out to be extremely profitable. The truth is that the connections we make throughout life can open doors we never imagined. Whether at a networking event, a business meeting, or even an informal conversation, all interactions have the potential to turn into something greater. Therefore, it is important to always be attentive and willing to engage in conversation. Every person who crosses your path may have a story, an opportunity, or valuable insight to offer. Cultivating relationships does not mean being manipulative or only seeking what others can offer. The true essence of networking lies in reciprocity. When you help someone, whether with advice, a referral, or even a recommendation, you create bonds that can strengthen over time. These relationships are enduring and often turn into fruitful partnerships. The key is to invest time and energy in them. Furthermore, diversification of relationships is crucial. Do not limit yourself to your usual circle. Meeting people from different fields, cultures, and experiences can provide a broader view of the market and consequently new opportunities. The plurality of ideas and experiences enriches our learning and helps us find creative solutions to problems. Lastly, remember that networking is not just about business. Often, the best advice and opportunities come from people who have similar interests but work in entirely different areas. Be open to new friendships and partnerships as they could be the difference you need in your financial journey. A growth mindset is a concept that has become quite popular in recent years, but its practical application is what truly makes the difference. Adopting a mindset that constantly seeks to learn and develop is essential for anyone who desires success, especially in the financial world. I myself have gone through periods where I felt stagnated, but it was by adopting this mindset that I was able to break barriers and move forward. The first step is to recognize that learning is a continuous process. No matter how experienced you are, there is always something new to learn. This is a lesson I took seriously. For example, when I decided to delve into investments, I realized the importance of studying different areas, from stocks to real estate. Curiosity is a powerful ally. When you are willing to learn, the universe opens up and opportunities become more visible. Another important aspect of a growth mindset is resilience. Throughout my journey, I faced many challenges and in some cases failures. Instead of letting myself be discouraged, I learned to see each of these moments as an opportunity for growth. When you understand that mistakes are part of the process, it becomes easier to get up and move forward. This shift in perspective is crucial for anyone looking to build wealth. A growth mindset also involves being open to feedback. Often, it is difficult to hear criticism, but such opinions can be valuable for your development. I learned to actively seek feedback from people I trust. This feedback helped me identify areas where I could improve and consequently make better decisions on my financial path. Finally, cultivating a growth mindset means celebrating achievements, no matter how small. Every step toward your goal should be acknowledged. This fuels motivation and confidence to continue learning and developing. The journey to wealth is long, but with the right mindset, it becomes much more rewarding. When it comes to investing, the popular wisdom says not to put all your eggs in one basket. And this is one of the most valuable truths I learned along my journey. Diversification of investments is a powerful strategy for minimizing risks and maximizing opportunities. I remember when I started investing, initially, I focused on only one type of asset. Over time, I realized that by diversifying, I could protect my capital and increase my potential returns. Diversification is not limited to different types of assets, but also to sectors and geographies. For example, while some people choose to invest only in stocks of large companies, I learned to include real estate funds, government bonds, and even cryptocurrencies in my portfolio. Each of these investments has different characteristics and can react differently to market changes. Thus, by diversifying, you create a safety net that can help stabilize your returns. A common mistake is thinking that diversification means having an excessive amount of investments. In reality, it's more about quality than quantity. It's better to have a well-balanced portfolio with investments you understand than to have a bunch of assets you barely know how they work. Over time, I adjusted my portfolio, removing what wasn't working and reinforcing what was successful. This active management is essential for financial success. Moreover, diversification also allows you to take advantage of different market opportunities. What is trending today might not be tomorrow. Therefore, by investing in various areas, you position yourself to capitalize on emerging trends. An example of this was when I decided to invest in technology and renewable energy, sectors that were on the rise. These decisions paid off significantly later. Finally, remember that diversification is a long-term strategy. Don't despair if a specific investment isn't doing well immediately. The market is cyclical, and with patience and a diversified approach, you can reap rewards in the future. The key is to stay informed and make necessary adjustments along the way. One of the most fundamental concepts I've learned on my financial journey is the importance of ensuring a positive cash flow. The truth is No matter how large your salary or investments are, if your expenses exceed your income, you will always be in trouble. Therefore, from the beginning, I made it a point to closely monitor my cash flow. This practice provided me with a clear view of my finances and helped me make more informed decisions. To maintain a positive cash flow, it is essential to have a well-structured budget. At first, this may seem like a tedious task, but over time, it becomes second nature. I began by listing all my monthly income and expenses. By doing so, I was able to identify areas where I could improve and make adjustments. Financial self-discipline is one of the fundamental pillars for those seeking financial freedom. Often, we find people with a considerable income who, due to a lack of discipline, end up drowning in debt. It's easy to be swayed by the temptations of immediate consumption, but it is important to keep in mind that every well-managed dollar can multiply over time. For me, self-discipline is not just about saying no to impulsive purchases. It's about having a clear plan and sticking to it, even when temptations arise. A crucial aspect of self-discipline is budget control. Setting a monthly spending limit and sticking to it can be challenging, but it's a skill that develops over time. I used to track all my expenses and income, which helped me gain a clear view of where my money was going. This practice allowed me to identify areas where I could cut unnecessary spending and consequently increase my savings and investment capacity. Additionally, financial self-discipline also involves the habit of saving. Creating an emergency fund is one of the best ways to ensure that you won't need to resort to debt in times of need. I set a goal to save a percentage of my income every month, and over time, this discipline brought me a sense of security and peace that I had never experienced before. Knowing that I have money set aside for emergencies allows me to make financial decisions with more confidence. Another important point is investment. It's easy to let money sit in a checking account, but self-discipline involves making conscious choices about how and where to invest. This means not only choosing low-risk investments, but also being willing to learn about new opportunities. I committed to spending time each week to study and better understand the financial market. This practice not only improved my investments, but also helped me feel more secure about the future. Ultimately, financial self-discipline is a continuous exercise. It is not a goal to be achieved, but a lifestyle. There will always be challenges and distractions, but the key is to remain focused on your long-term goals. Have learned that it is perfectly normal to slip up occasionally, but what matters is getting back on track and continuing to work on what truly matters. Building a solid financial future. One of the most valuable lessons I have learned throughout my financial journey is that mistakes are inevitable, but they are also learning opportunities. At first, I had an almost paralyzing fear of failure. Every wrong decision seemed like a fatal blow to my finances. However, over time, I realized that every mistake carries a lesson that can make me stronger and wiser. This shift in mindset was crucial for my growth. Looking back, I see that some of my biggest financial losses were actually the best teachers. For example, I made an investment in an asset that seemed very promising, but quickly depreciated. Instead of letting it bring me down, I decided to analyze what went wrong. This led me to better understand the fundamentals of investing and the importance of thorough research before entering any deal. This experience taught me to be more cautious and methodical in my future decisions. Moreover, learning from mistakes also involves humility. It's easy to want to justify failures or blame external factors. However, I learned that taking responsibility for my decisions is the first step towards growth. By doing so, I can identify areas where I need to improve and better prepare for the future. This approach allowed me to develop a more resilient mindset, capable of facing the highs and lows of financial life. Another important lesson is that mistakes are not the end. They are part of the process. Instead of seeing a bankruptcy or a failed investment as a defeat, I began to view them as part of my continuous learning. Each mistake provided me with a new perspective and, with that, new strategies for the future. Now, when I face a challenging situation, I see it as a chance for growth rather than an insurmountable obstacle. Finally, the ability to learn from mistakes extends to all areas of life, not just financial. The discipline I developed by reflecting on my failures has also helped me improve in other areas. This growth mindset has become a central part of my life, allowing me to approach new challenges with courage and determination. Learning from mistakes has transformed me into a smarter investor and a more conscious person. Investing in oneself is one of the best decisions someone can make, and I realized this throughout my journey. Developing skills is a crucial aspect of increasing earning potential and consequently financial freedom. In the past, I used to think that merely having a good job was enough to ensure my financial future. However, over time, I realized that the skills I developed were the real differentiator in my career. One of the first steps I took was to identify which skills were most valued in the market. This led me to enroll in courses on finance, digital marketing, and even interpersonal skills like effective communication. Each new piece of knowledge not only improved my resume, but also gave me the confidence needed to explore new job opportunities. When I felt prepared and competent, it reflected in my professional interactions, resulting in promotions and opportunities that had previously seemed distant. In addition, skill development is not limited to technical aspects. Learning to work in teams, lead and manage conflicts are skills that can open doors in any sector. I have always sought feedback from colleagues and mentors about my interpersonal skills. This practice helped me understand where I needed to improve and to actively work on these areas. Through courses and workshops, I was able to enhance my ability to collaborate and lead, which in turn positively impacted my professional journey. Another advantage of investing in skills is adaptability. The job market is constantly evolving, and the skills that were relevant yesterday may no longer be useful tomorrow. By committing to continuous learning, I managed to stay updated and relevant regardless of changes. This not only made me a more valued professional, but also brought me a sense of security in a financial world that is often unpredictable. Finally, skill development is an investment that always yields returns. Over the years, I have found that the skills I acquired not only increased my income, but also provided me with a sense of personal achievement. Each new piece of knowledge left me better prepared to face challenges and seek new opportunities. This learning journey has become a vital part of my life, and I encourage everyone to embrace this philosophy, as there is always room to grow and become the best version of oneself. Adopting a long-term mindset is one of the keys to financial success. Throughout my journey, I realized that many people get caught up in instant gratification, focusing only on immediate gains. However, this approach rarely leads to sustainable results. When I started focusing on what I wanted to achieve in 5, 10, or even 20 years, my perspective on investments and personal finance changed completely. One of the most important aspects of this long-term thinking is patience. Returns on investments, whether in stocks or real estate, do not happen overnight. When I started investing, I often became anxious to see quick results. But over time, I learned that true wealth is built over years through consistent and intelligent investments. Today, I understand that every penny I put into an investment is a step towards my future, and this vision helps me stay focused. Moreover, thinking long-term has allowed me to make more informed financial decisions. Often, the most attractive opportunities may seem too good to be true. However, by maintaining a long-term mindset, I can assess whether these opportunities align with my overall financial goals. This has helped me avoid pitfalls and focus my efforts on investments that, although they may not seem exciting in the short term, have the potential to yield significant results in the future. Another benefit of long-term thinking is the ability to plan for retirement. Starting to save and invest early is one of the best ways to ensure a comfortable financial future. When I began thinking about my retirement, I realized that every contribution to my pension would be one more step towards financial freedom. This mindset motivated me to increase my savings rate and explore different investment options. Finally, long-term thinking applies not only to finances but also to other aspects of life. By focusing on long-term goals, I learned to value the process and the journey rather than becoming frustrated with immediate results. This approach has given me a new perspective on life and helped me develop resilience and determination. I believe that we can all benefit from a more strategic and long-term mindset, not only regarding money, but in all areas where we wish to grow. When I decided to take a closer look at my financial situation, I realized it was time for a detailed analysis of my income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. I sat down with a notebook and a pen because honestly, I needed to put everything on paper. The first thing I did was list all sources of income, my salary, some freelance work I do occasionally, and a few investments that yielded some returns. It was surprising to realize that even with some extra income, I wasn't fully leveraging my financial potential. Next, I moved on to expenses, which, let's face it, are the real villains of the story. There were the fixed costs, such as rent and utilities, and the variable ones like food and entertainment. I was shocked to see how much I was spending on things that honestly weren't that necessary. At the end of this analysis, I realized that I had a pattern. I used to spend more than I earned in certain months, especially when going out with friends or buying something trendy. This made me think, do I really need all of this? Identifying these consumption habits was a turning point. I always knew I had some quirks, but seeing the numbers gave me a different perspective. I began questioning every purchase, considering whether it was truly worth it or just an impulse. This reflection led me to understand that to achieve my financial goals, I needed to change my relationship with money. After all, it doesn't make sense to have a good income if expenses are always there, like shadows, dragging my wallet down. With this assessment in hand, I was able to get a clearer picture of what was going on. I had assets, such as my retirement account and some savings, but I also had liabilities, like credit card debt. This balance was not in my favor, and I knew I needed to act. From that moment on, I decided that the next step would be to set clear financial goals, something that could motivate me to change these habits and have a more secure future. Reflecting on my financial situation was a revealing process, almost like looking in a mirror and seeing the full reflection of my choices. With this understanding, I finally felt prepared to take the next step, setting goals that were not only realistic, but also meaningful to me. Now that I had a clearer view of my financial situation, it was time to set my financial goals. I'd always heard that having goals is crucial, but I had never really thought about what I wanted to achieve. I started to divide my goals into short, medium, and long term. In the short term, for example, I needed a plan to pay off some debts and perhaps take a trip that I had longed for. This would give me a boost and a sense of accomplishment. For the medium term, I thought about something more substantial, like buying a property. I had always dreamed of having my own space, and that would require careful planning. Therefore, I decided that I needed to save a significant amount for the down payment. This goal motivated me to rethink my spending habits and prioritize saving over impulsive purchases. It was almost like a personal challenge. How could I cut expenses and still maintain a good quality of life while working toward this goal? And of course, I couldn't overlook the long term, which for me was retirement. I had never been one to think much about the future, but I realized that if I wanted to have a comfortable old age, it was essential to start worrying about it now. I researched retirement plans and other forms of investment that could ensure a more comfortable future. This goal made me understand that it's not enough to just live in the present. It's also necessary to plan for tomorrow. By setting these goals, I started to visualize a path forward. Each goal became a step toward a healthier financial life. The clarity about what I wanted to achieve gave me a new sense of purpose, as if I had found a compass in the midst of a sea of uncertainties. This mental organization was crucial because now I knew exactly where I wanted to go and how I could get there. With all this in mind, I realized that setting financial goals was not just about numbers and targets. It was a way to reprogram my mindset regarding money and consumption. This new focus transformed me and gave me hope. And from that moment on, I was determined to move forward and implement a plan that would help me achieve my dreams. After getting a clear idea of my financial situation and setting goals, the next step was to create a realistic budget. I had always heard about the importance of having a budget, but to be honest, I had never taken it very seriously. However, I now knew it was crucial to achieving my goals. So I sat down and started to outline a monthly budget that truly reflected my financial reality. First, I made a detailed list of my fixed expenses. This included rent, car payments, utility bills, and so on. These are the unavoidable bills, you know. Next, I turned to variable expenses, which are more complicated because they often end up being higher than I planned. Expenses like outings with friends, dining out, and even impulse purchases were weighed. The idea was to get a clear view of where the money was going and how I could make adjustments. One of the things I learned during this process was the importance of having an emergency fund. I had always heard that having a cushion was wise, but I had never really put it into practice. Now I realized that living without this safety net was a real risk. So I decided that in addition to fixed and variable expenses, I would need to allocate a portion of my monthly salary to this reserve. This gave me some relief, as I knew that if something unexpected happened, I would be a little more protected. Creating the budget was not easy, but it was extremely rewarding. At the end of the month, I committed to reviewing what I had planned versus what I had actually spent. This helped me identify areas where I could save more and conversely, where I was being reasonable. This practice of monitoring my spending made me feel more in control of my finances, and that in itself was a victory. With the budget in hand, I had a powerful tool to track my financial progress. The feeling of organizing my financial life and being closer to my goals was invigorating. I knew that if I followed this plan, I would be making significant strides toward realizing my dreams. Now, it was time to think about how to maximize these savings and invest intelligently. With a realistic budget finally established, the next step was to think about savings and investment strategies. I always knew that saving money was important, but I had never delved into the available options. I started researching different alternatives such as savings accounts, CDs, and other financial investments. The first step was to open an account that earned a bit more than a regular savings account. This motivated me even more to save, knowing that my money would be growing, even if slowly. From that point, my curiosity led me to explore the world of investments. I had always been a bit afraid to venture into this realm, but I realized that to achieve my long-term goals, I needed to learn more about it. I began studying stocks, real estate investment trusts, and fixed income securities. The idea of diversifying my portfolio seemed like a smart strategy. This way, I could mitigate risks and potentially increase my returns. One of the concepts I learned during this phase was the power of compound interest. I was impressed to see how an initial investment, even if modest, could multiply over time. This made me rethink my approach to money and the need to start investing as soon as possible. The idea that every small amount I saved could turn into something bigger in the future excited and motivated me to take action. Moreover, I realized that financial education is fundamental in this process. I began seeking out books, podcasts, and videos about personal finance and investments. This quest for knowledge made me feel more empowered and prepared to make financial decisions. Now, I wasn't just following a budget, I was building a solid foundation for my financial future. The change in my mindset regarding saving and investing was a significant milestone in my journey. With the knowledge gained, I felt I had the tools to work towards my goals, whether to buy a property, travel, or ensure a comfortable retirement. I now knew that the path to financial freedom was within reach, and I was determined to follow it. With all the previous steps completed, it was time to monitor and adjust my financial plan. I had always heard that a financial plan isn't something static. It needs to be reviewed and adapted as life progresses. For me, this meant that I needed to stay attentive to changes in my finances and, of course, my goals. Talking about a budget is almost like opening a diary I never thought I'd need. Whenever I think about finances, the first thing that comes to mind is the mess that was my financial life before having a plan. The first step in creating a budget is having the courage to face reality. It's like looking in the mirror and seeing who you really are, financially speaking. I started by recording everything I earned and spent. It might seem tedious, but it's essential. I used a spreadsheet on my computer, but a simple notebook would also work. The important thing is to be honest and detailed. After listing all my income and expenses, I realized that some categories were surprising me. For example, I was spending much more on eating out than I had imagined. What once seemed like a normal expense turned into a real drain on my budget. With this clear view, I was able to divide my expenses into fixed categories such as rent and bills and variable ones like leisure and food. This division helped me understand where I could cut costs without feeling like I was living a life of deprivation. Another crucial point for me was the inclusion of an emergency fund. Whenever something unexpected happened, I would panic. So I decided I needed a financial cushion. My idea was to set aside a percentage of what I earned every month for emergencies. This not only gave me security, but also a sense of control over my financial life. The feeling of knowing I have money set aside for unexpected situations is incredible. And of course, I can't forget the importance of reviewing this budget monthly. At first, I thought that once I put everything on paper, it would be done. But the truth is, life changes, and with it, expenses also change. That's why I set aside a day each month just to review my budget, make adjustments, and see where I could improve. This practice became a healthy habit and keeps me always up to date with my finances. With the budget in hand, the next step was to think about how to save and invest smartly. When I started saving, the idea of simply putting money in a savings account didn't seem sufficient. Over time, I realized there were several options that could help me make my money work for me. The first thing I did was open an account at a bank that offered a good interest rate. This made me feel like I was on the right path. However, just saving wasn't enough. I needed to explore the world of investments. At first, it seemed daunting. Terms like stocks, real estate funds, and fixed income were completely confusing to me. So I decided to start slowly. I researched what each of these investments was, watched videos, and read articles. This financial education was crucial for me to understand how the market worked. One of the first things I learned was the importance of portfolio diversification. Instead of putting all my money in one place, I could spread my investments across different areas. This not only minimizes risk, but also increases the chances of returns. From that point, I started mixing some stocks with fixed income investments and even real estate funds, which I liked for the idea of having a monthly return. The best part was that I was feeling more secure and confident about my financial future. Naturally, I can't overlook the importance of having clear goals when saving and investing. I set specific targets, such as buying a property in 5 years and having a comfortable retirement in 30 years. Having these goals motivated me to maintain financial discipline, as I knew exactly where I was directing my money. Sometimes, this vision helped me resist the temptation to spend on unnecessary things. Finally, one of the best decisions I made was to keep learning continuously about investments. The financial market is always changing, and what is a good strategy today might not be tomorrow. Therefore, I stay updated through courses, podcasts, and books. This not only helps me make more informed decisions, but also gives me a sense of empowerment regarding my money and future. With a budget created and savings and investment strategies in place, the next challenge was monitoring and adjusting my financial plan. I realized that for everything to work, I needed a system to track my progress. Initially, I wrote everything down by hand, but soon I found it more practical to use personal finance apps. These apps not only helped me keep everything organized, but also alerted me about excessive spending in some categories. One of the things I value most now is the periodic review of my financial plan. At first, I did this monthly, but over time, I realized that some changes didn't need to be so frequent. Now, I review my plan every 3 months, and this gives me a broader view of my financial situation. During these reviews, I analyze what worked, what didn't, and more importantly, what can be improved. Using technological tools also made it easier to identify patterns in my spending. With charts and reports, I can see where I'm spending more and where I can save. This type of information is valuable because it helps me adjust my budget and have a clearer idea of what needs to be prioritized. Occasionally, I notice that I'm spending more on leisure than planned, and with this information, I adjust immediately. Moreover, monitoring my progress helps me stay motivated. Seeing my investments grow and my debts decrease is rewarding. Often, I catch myself smiling when I realize I'm closer to my long-term goals. This sense of accomplishment is a powerful motivator to keep moving forward. Finally, I learned that flexibility is essential. Sometimes, life surprises us with unexpected expenses or changes in plans. In such cases, I don't stress. Instead, I review my budget and make the necessary adjustments. This adaptability mindset has allowed me not only to survive financially, but also to thrive amidst uncertainties. The important thing is to know that the financial plan is a living tool that must be nourished and adjusted as life progresses. When I look at my financial situation, one of the things that concerns me the most is debt. After all, who doesn't have one or two financial commitments dragging on, right? The first thing I did was assess all my existing debts. I listed each one, the outstanding balance, the interest rate, and the payment term. This assessment helped me understand not only how much I owed, but also to whom I owed it. I realized that some debts were more urgent, while others could wait. This initial organization was crucial for creating an effective payment plan. After having a clear view of my debts, I decided to create a payment plan. I chose to prioritize the debts with the highest interest rates, a strategy that seems logical but is often forgotten in the daily rush. I started allocating a portion of my monthly budget to these debts. Additionally, I sought to negotiate some of them. I reached out to creditors, explained my situation, and in most cases managed to get a discount or an extended payment term. This not only eased my financial burden, but also brought a sense of control over my financial life. Another important aspect I realized is the significance of credit history. I didn't know much about this until I started delving into the subject. I learned that a good credit history can greatly facilitate obtaining a loan or financing. So I began monitoring my credit score and took some steps to improve it. I paid all my bills on time and avoided accruing unnecessary new debts. This attention to my credit history made all the difference when I later needed financing for a car. The strategies for improving credit were also a valuable lesson. One tip I found was to maintain credit utilization below 30% of the available limit. So I tried to manage my credit card spending, avoiding exceeding this limit. Additionally, I didn't hesitate to use credit cards that offered benefits such as cashback or miles as long as I could pay them off in full every month. This helps me build a good financial reputation while also earning some rewards. Creating a financial plan is just the first step. The real challenge comes next, which is monitoring and adjusting that plan. Since I started working on my financial health, I noticed that things change frequently. Therefore, it is crucial to review the plan regularly to ensure it remains aligned with my goals and my reality. This review should be done at least every 3 months. This way, I can make the necessary adjustments and stay focused. One tool I found very useful for monitoring my financial situation was a finance app. With it, I can track my daily expenses, categorize spending, and see where I can save. Technology has been a great ally in this process. Besides facilitating monitoring, these apps generally offer reports that help me better understand my consumption patterns. With this data, it's easier to make informed decisions and adjust my budget if needed. In addition to digital tools, the simple act of recording my expenses in an Excel spreadsheet has also been effective. Sometimes I like to sit with a coffee and review the month's expenses. It provides me with a clear view of where I'm spending more and where I can cut back. It's a moment of reflection that helps me stay in tune with my financial situation. If I notice that I'm overspending on something non-essential, I adjust my budget for the following month accordingly. Another important point in monitoring the financial plan is flexibility. Sometimes unexpected events occur which can affect my budget. For example, an unforeseen car repair or an unplanned medical expense. In these cases, it's essential to have a reserve for emergencies, but it's also necessary to adjust the plan to accommodate these new expenses. Rigidity can lead to frustration, so I've learned to be flexible and adapt my plan as needed. Now that you understand the importance of a strategic financial plan, it's time to take action. Think about what you truly want: to travel, buy a property, or even ensure your children's education. What are your dreams? Visualize them now and start plotting the path to achieve them. So folks, we've reached the crucial moment of our video. Robert Kiyosaki, a true master when it comes to money, has shown us that getting rich is not a privilege for a few, but a possibility for many. Now I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. What is really holding you back from taking the next step? The key lies in your mindset. Have you ever wondered what limiting beliefs might be holding you back? Think about it. Kiyosaki teaches us that knowledge is one of the greatest riches we can accumulate, and believe me, you can start educating yourself financially right now. Imagine where you could be in 5 years if you start acting now. Don't let the fear of the unknown paralyze you. What would you do if you weren't afraid of failing? Now is the time to turn your ideas into actions. And remember, every small step counts. So, how about starting to invest in yourself? When was the last time you read a book on finance or watched an inspiring lecture? The journey to wealth starts here and now. Shall we go on this journey together? Comment below your goals and let's support each other on this path.